Dude, some games don't just entertain you, they straight up steal your time. You tell yourself you'll play for a bit, and next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. These are the 18 insanely addictive games that'll steal hours of your life. I've lost sleep and spent weeks glued to the screen, but trust me, every minute was worth it.
1. Days Gone. You ever play a game thinking it's just another zombie thing, and then it hits you in the gut emotionally? That's Days Gone. I fired it up expecting something generic, but it turned out to be one of the most immersive open-world experiences I've ever had. Oregon never looked so good, and so deadly. You play as Deacon St. John, a biker trying to survive in a world overrun by freakers. But this isn't your typical hero story. Deacon's broken. He's angry. He's lost almost everything, and you feel that pain in every decision he makes. The way he talks to himself, the way he rides that dusty road alone, it's raw, it's personal. And then there's the horde system. Oh man, nothing compares to being chased by hundreds of freakers at once. Your palms sweat, your heart races, and you just go. The way you upgrade your bike, customize your weapons, and slowly reclaim the world, it's so satisfying. But what makes Days Gone so addictive is that quiet moment after a mission, when you're just cruising under the stars with the engine humming. It's lonely, it's peaceful, and it feels real. Before you know it, 5 hours are gone and you're still whispering, "All right, just one more run."
2. Bloodborne. Bloodborne doesn't just take your time, it takes your soul. This game will chew you up and spit you out, but somehow you'll thank it for it. It's dark, it's gothic, and it's pure chaos wrapped in elegance. The first time I walked through Yharnam, I thought, yeah, I got this. 5 minutes later, I was dead, repeatedly. But that's the beauty of it. You learn. Every failure makes you better. Every enemy you defeat feels like a personal victory. And let's talk about that atmosphere. The cobblestone streets, the flickering lamps, the sound of something unspeakable lurking nearby. You're constantly on edge, constantly alert. Even when nothing's happening, it feels like something is. What makes it addictive isn't just the combat, it's the rhythm. You dodge, strike, die, repeat. And then suddenly, you're in the zone. It becomes second nature. You stop fearing the monsters and start dancing with them. It's punishing, yeah, but when you finally take down a boss that's been wrecking you for hours, that rush is unmatched. Bloodborne isn't just a game. It's an experience that grabs you by the throat and refuses to let go.
3. Fallout 4. Man, Fallout 4 is one of those games where you start building a base, then realize the sun's coming up. You tell yourself you're just gonna check one more settlement, and suddenly you've spent an entire evening collecting screws and duct tape. It's that kind of game, a time eater of the highest order. You start off with the classic Fallout intro. The nukes drop, the world ends, and you crawl out of the vault to rebuild what's left. Simple premise, but the execution? Massive. The Commonwealth feels alive. Not because it's full of people, but because it's full of stories. Every ruin tells you what came before. You'll get lost in side quests, building settlements, scavenging for materials, or just wandering. The customization is ridiculous. Weapons, armor, bases, companions, you name it. And the more you invest, the more you care about your tiny piece of this broken world. But what really keeps you hooked is that weird sense of hope underneath all the destruction. Fallout 4 might look grim, but it's about starting over. Every time you fix something, build something, or help someone survive another day, you feel like you're making a difference. And just when you think you're done, boom, another Radiant quest appears, and there you go again. Sleep? Optional. Coffee? Mandatory. Fallout 4 is pure post-apocalyptic addiction. 4. Mafia Definitive Edition. This one's special. Mafia Definitive Edition isn't just a remake, it's a cinematic masterpiece that reminds you why story-driven games matter. It's old-school crime drama perfection with modern polish. You step into the shoes of Tommy Angelo, a cab driver who accidentally gets involved with the Salieri crime family. And that's where everything changes. From small-time driver to full-blown gangster, Tommy's transformation feels earned. You feel the moral weight behind every mission. What really hooks you here is the atmosphere. Lost Heaven feels alive. The cars, the streets, the music, the rain-soaked nights. You're not just playing, you're living in this 1930s world. Every mission feels handcrafted, like a scene from a movie you can control. The voice acting, the tension, the betrayals, it all hits perfectly. And that soundtrack, man, it just oozes class. You'll find yourself sitting in the car after a mission just listening to the radio, soaking in that vintage vibe. Mafia Definitive Edition isn't about open-world chaos. It's about control, storytelling, and immersion. You can't just play one mission. You need to know what happens next. It's the kind of game that keeps you glued for hours without realizing it.
Five, Mad Max. Now, Mad Max, man, this one's criminally underrated. Every time I bring it up, people say, wait, that had a game? And I'm like, yeah, and it's awesome. If you've ever wanted to live inside a post-apocalyptic car chase, this is it. The world is pure chaos, endless desert, burned out cities, and gangs fighting over scraps of gasoline. You play as Max, a broken man just trying to survive. But the way the game builds his story through silence and grit is something else. He barely talks, but you feel everything. The car combat is the heart of it. Brutal, cinematic, and ridiculously satisfying. Every fight feels like a scene out of Fury Road. You upgrade your car, the Magnum Opus, piece by piece, until it's basically your best friend and weapon rolled into one. And the world itself? It's so empty it shouldn't work, but it does. Every storm, every abandoned ruin, every encounter feels tense. You'll spend hours just driving, scavenging for parts, getting ambushed by raiders, and somehow never getting tired of it. What makes Mad Max addictive isn't just the combat or the upgrades. It's the vibe, the desolation, the danger, the feeling that you're one bad decision away from losing everything. It's brutal, it's lonely, and it's unforgettable. 6. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. If addiction had a medieval name, it would be Skyrim. I've lost more hours to this game than I'd ever admit. You start thinking you'll just finish a quick quest, and suddenly you're knee-deep in a dungeon chasing a glowing sword you don't even need. This game isn't just a world, it's a lifestyle. The first time that dragon swoops down and the music kicks in, you're hooked. It's got that kind of magic that never fades, even after a decade. You can be anyone, a thief, a warrior, a mage, or just some guy who collects cheese wheels and decorates his house. The best part? It never tells you what to do. You wake up in a strange land and the world's like, go figure it out. And you do. You go exploring, get sidetracked, steal a few sweet rolls, get arrested, escape prison, join a guild. It's pure freedom. What keeps you playing isn't the story, it's the possibilities. Every corner of Skyrim hides something. A cave, a mystery, a random NPC with a tragic backstory. You get lost, literally and emotionally. And let's be real, the modding scene just turned it into an infinite time sink. Skyrim isn't a game you finish, it's a game you live in. Seven, Batman Arkham Knight. Man, Arkham Knight makes you feel like Batman. Not in the casual, I'm wearing a cape kind of way. I mean, really feel it. The weight of the suit, the roar of the Batmobile, the paranoia of facing your greatest fears. It's all here. After Arkham City, expectations were sky high, and somehow this one nailed it. Gotham looks incredible, dark, wet, and alive. You can glide from rooftop to rooftop, drop down into combat, and everything feels seamless. And that Batmobile? Yeah, people had mixed opinions, but I loved it. It's not just a car, it's your tank, your escape route, your puzzle solver. You use it in ways that actually make sense for Batman. But the real addiction comes from how deep you get into his psyche. The game doesn't just throw villains at you, it messes with your mind. Scarecrow's fear toxin, the hallucinations, the tension of being hunted. It's psychological as much as it's action. Every mission, every side story pulls you deeper. Before you know it, you're cleaning up the streets at 4 a.m. because Gotham won't rest, and neither will you. Arkham Knight isn't just a superhero game, it's the Batman experience.
8. Horizon Forbidden West. Alright, let's talk Horizon Forbidden West. I don't know about you, but I thought the first game couldn't be topped. Then this came out and proved me wrong. It's not just bigger, it's richer. Like every inch of this world has a story to tell. You're back as Aloy, confident, sharp, and just as determined as ever. But this time, the scale feels massive. You're riding across deserts, climbing giant metal beasts, diving underwater, and it all looks jaw-dropping. The visuals alone could keep you glued for hours. But what keeps you hooked isn't just the beauty, it's the flow. The combat feels smoother, the machines are smarter, and every fight feels like a puzzle wrapped in chaos. You start analyzing enemy patterns, setting traps, switching arrows. It's tactical and thrilling. And then there's exploration. You tell yourself you'll just check that one signal on the map, and suddenly 3 hours are gone. The game just keeps rewarding curiosity. Every ruin, every tribe, every hidden story adds depth. What I love most, though, is how alive the world feels. It's not just post-apocalyptic, it's reborn. The machines might rule, but nature's taken back the planet. And exploring that balance between humanity and technology, that's what makes it truly addictive. 9. Elden Ring. Alright, Elden Ring isn't just a game, it's a full-on spiritual journey. I swear, this thing consumed weeks of my life. You start lost, weak, and absolutely clueless, and somehow that's what makes it magical. It doesn't hold your hand, it just drops you into this breathtaking, terrifying world and says, good luck, and you love it. The lands between feels alive in a way few games ever achieve. Every hill hides a secret, every shadow might be death, and every time you think you've seen it all, you find something that blows your mind. A massive dragon, a hidden cave, or an entire underground world. And the bosses? Man, they'll test every ounce of patience you have. You die again and again, but the moment you finally win, pure euphoria. That's what makes it so addictive. You're constantly improving, learning, growing, not just your character, but you. But what gets me most is the freedom. There's no right path. You can wander wherever you want, find your own adventure, and the game never punishes curiosity, it rewards it. Elden Ring gives you stories you create yourself, and that's what makes it unforgettable. 10. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. This one still gives me chills. Resident Evil 7 is the kind of game that grabs your nerves and doesn't let go. It completely rebooted the series. New character, new perspective, same nightmare. You're Ethan Winters, just a regular guy looking for his missing wife, and you end up in this rotting farmhouse with the most disturbing family ever put in a video game, the Bakers. The moment you walk in, the tension is unbearable. Every creak, every shadow makes you flinch. But the reason it's so addictive is because it balances that fear with curiosity. You're terrified, but you want to keep going. You want to know what's behind that door, even though you know it's a terrible idea. It's like the game dares you to keep playing. The first-person view makes it all feel way too real. You can almost smell the mold and hear the whispers behind you. It's horror at its most intimate. Not loud jump scares, but slow, psychological dread. And when you finally escape that house, you realize you don't want to leave. Because for all the fear, Resident Evil 7 reminds you why horror games are so special.
they make you feel. 11. Dying Light the following. If you've ever said just one more night while playing a game, Dying Light the following probably made you say it 300 times. The mix of parkour, survival, and zombie chaos is straight up addictive. You start out scavenging during the day, running errands, looting supplies, and then night hits. And that's when the game transforms completely. The hunters come out, the music changes, and suddenly you're sprinting for your life with pure panic rushing through your veins. The following expansion takes everything great about the original and cranks it up. You get this massive open countryside, customizable dune buggies, and new ways to explore and fight. The freedom is insane. You can go anywhere, climb anything, and pull off ridiculous stunts. But what really keeps you hooked is the flow. The movement system is so smooth that you start thinking like a free runner. Every rooftop becomes an escape route, every jump a lifeline. You're constantly in motion, constantly surviving. It's that perfect mix of tension and adrenaline, the kind of game that makes you lose hours without realizing it. You'll tell yourself, just one more mission, and suddenly the sun's coming up outside your window. 12. Ghost of Tsushima. Man, if beauty could kill, Ghost of Tsushima would have taken me out in the first 10 minutes. This game is pure art in motion. Every single frame looks like a painting, and every step you take feels like walking through history. You play as Jin Sakai, a samurai torn between tradition and survival as his island is invaded by Mongols. But beyond the story, what hooks you is the honor. Every duel, every swing of the katana feels meaningful. Not just a fight, but a statement. And the world. Dude, it's unreal. Fields of golden grass, sunsets that actually make you stop moving, foxes leading you to shrines. It's peaceful and violent at the same time. You'll spend hours just wandering without realizing how much time has passed. The combat hits that perfect balance between skill and flow. You're never just mashing buttons. You're thinking, reacting, timing every move. When you take out a camp flawlessly, it feels legendary. But it's not just about fighting. It's about who you become. Jin's transformation from samurai to ghost mirrors your own evolution as a player, learning to fight differently, to think differently. It's poetic, emotional, and unforgettable. Number 13. Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty. Okay, real talk. Phantom Liberty is the expansion that finally turned Cyberpunk 2077 into the game we all dreamed of. I remember jumping back into Night City thinking, alright, let's see if it's actually good now. And man, it was. It didn't just fix the game, it redefined it. You're thrown into Dogtown, a gritty, dangerous new district where everyone's either trying to scam you or kill you. It's tense, dark, and packed with that classic spy thriller vibe. You've got Idris Elba's character, Solomon Reed, pulling you into this web of espionage and betrayal. And suddenly you're in a story that feels way more grounded and emotional. But what really got me addicted wasn't just the missions. It was living in this city again. The atmosphere, the lights, the sounds, it's pure sensory overload. You'll walk down an alley just to see what's there and end up in some random shootout that feels cinematic. And those choices, man, every single decision feels heavy. The endings hit different too. I actually sat there staring at the screen thinking about what I just did. It's one of those expansions that doesn't feel like DLC, it feels like a brand new game that just happens to live inside another masterpiece. 14. The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt. Alright, let's get something straight. The Witcher 3 isn't just a game, it's a world. The kind you don't just play, you move into. I remember booting it up thinking I'd do a couple of quests before bed. 4 hours later, I'm still chasing a griffin through the woods at sunrise. You play as Geralt of Rivia, the chillest monster hunter in gaming. But what makes this game so addictive isn't the monsters, it's the stories. Every side quest feels like its own mini drama, complete with heartbreak, betrayal, and those moral choices that mess with your head.
And the world, it's unreal. You'll be riding your horse through a swamp and stumble on a cursed village, or find a note that starts a quest that spirals into something epic. The attention to detail is insane. The people, the music, even the weather feels alive. But what really keeps you hooked is how personal it all feels. You care about Ciri, about Yennefer, about every choice you make. You want to see how it ends, even though you know you'll never truly be done. Honestly, The Witcher 3 ruined other RPGs for me. Nothing else comes close to that mix of story, emotion, and freedom.
15. Marvel's Spider-Man. If joy could be bottled, it would feel like swinging through New York in Spider-Man. I swear, the first time I launched off a skyscraper and felt the wind rushing past, I grinned like a little kid. This game nails what being Spider-Man actually feels like. You're not just fighting crime, you're living Peter Parker's life, balancing hero work, relationships, and those moments when everything just falls apart. It's emotional, funny, and deeply human. The combat? Pure flow. You're bouncing between enemies, webbing guys to walls, dodging bullets, and pulling off insane combos like you're choreographing a movie in real time. And then between all that chaos, the story sneaks up and hits you right in the heart. But what's wild is how easy it is to lose hours without even realizing it. You'll tell yourself you're just gonna swing to one more tower, stop one more robbery, and boom, it's midnight. The city just keeps pulling you back in. It's one of those games that makes you feel like a hero, not just because you save people, but because you care about them. 16. The Last of Us Part 2. I'll be honest, The Last of Us Part 2 broke me. Not in a sad ending kind of way, but in a wow, I'm emotionally drained and I need to lie down kind of way. It's brutal, uncomfortable, and absolutely unforgettable. You play as Ellie, grown up and hardened by years of pain and survival. The story drags you through every emotion imaginable. Anger, grief, guilt, and it doesn't let you look away. Every fight feels personal, every kill heavy. It's not a game about fun, it's a game about feeling. And that's what makes it so addictive. It's raw, real. You want to see where it goes even when it hurts. The world feels lived in, the animations are ridiculously detailed, and the performances, man, they're Oscar-worthy. There were moments I literally put down the controller and just sat in silence. It's that powerful. But even with all that pain, it's beautiful. In its storytelling, in its world design, in its honesty. It's not a game you play, it's one you experience. And once you've finished, it stays with you like a scar, one you'll never want to heal. 17. Just Cause 3. You ever play a game just to blow stuff up and feel absolutely unstoppable? That's Just Cause 3 in a nutshell. Pure chaos, pure fun, zero regrets. You play as Rico Rodriguez, a guy who basically has a PhD in explosions. The second you get that grappling hook and wingsuit combo, it's over. You'll spend hours just flying around, attaching soldiers to gas tanks, launching cars into the sky, and making everything go boom. What I love most is that this game doesn't take itself too seriously. It knows it's ridiculous and it embraces it. You can take over entire military bases in the most creative, explosive ways imaginable. There's no right way to do anything, just pure freedom and chaos. In the map, massive. You'll start blowing stuff up on one island, and by the time you look at the clock, 3 hours have passed, and you're like, wait, I was supposed to eat dinner. It's the kind of game that taps into that inner kid who just wants to mess around and see what happens. No grind, no stress, just wingsuits, explosions, and that sweet sound of chaos. If you ever need to just unplug and go wild, Just Cause 3 is the ultimate stress relief. 18. Red Dead Redemption 2.
And finally, Red Dead Redemption 2. Dude, this isn't just a game, it's an experience. It's art, storytelling, and emotional gut punches all wrapped in a cowboy hat. You play as Arthur Morgan, and from the moment you ride into that snowy opening, you feel the weight of the world. The writing, the acting, the world, it's all absurdly good. I'm talking, sit on your horse and just stare at the sunset for 10 minutes good. What makes it so dangerously addictive isn't just the missions or shootouts, it's the living world. You'll be riding to your next quest and get distracted by a stranger calling for help, a random bounty, or just the beauty of the landscape. It's impossible not to get lost in it. And man, the story hits hard. You see Arthur change, you see his pain, his loyalty, and by the end, you're emotionally destroyed but weirdly grateful for it. Even after finishing it, I kept booting it up just to ride around, fish, camp, and listen to the music. It's that kind of game. It becomes part of you. Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't just steal hours of your life, it gives them meaning.
Alright, I think we can all agree these games are absolute time vampires. Once you start, you just can't stop. But hey, if losing sleep means diving into worlds this good, I'm totally fine with that. So tell me, which one of these games has stolen your life the most? Drop it in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more lists that'll probably ruin your free time. Alright, I'm out. Time to lose another 10 hours in Red Dead.